Okay, so let's talk about Joe Biden. And actually, we want to hear from you, our viewer. How do you feel your life is going 1 year into Joe Biden's presidency? Well, last night he gave a press conference. I'm sure many of you watched. I'm reading your comments already. And he talked about things like the pandemic, the economy, and his legislative agenda. Here's just some of what he said. Take a listen.
I didn't overpromise. You'd have to acknowledge we made enormous progress. One thing I haven't been able to do so far is get my Republican friends to get in the game of making things better in this country. I don't think there's anything unrealistic about what we're asking for. I'm not asking for castles in the sky. I'm asking for practical things the American people have been asking for a long time.
All right. So on this 1 year anniversary, we want to know again what our DBL Nation thinks. How is he doing? And is your life better or worse under this president? Do you approve? Do you disapprove? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. I'm also going to be looking at some of your comments. Al, how are you feeling personally?
I'm feeling, and it's so interesting because I was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday. I think that not only is it different under Biden, but I think it almost wouldn't have mattered what president it was, because I think life is going to be different from here on out. I think at least for the next couple of years, maybe even next decade, we're going to be kind of in soft lockdowns. People are going to be washing their hands more. Some people, if they're sick, are not going to be going out. There'll be less family gatherings, less large gatherings. So I think overall, for this new lifestyle that I am trying to get used to, it's better. I can hug my mama. My kids are vaccinated. I can get tests. I know where to get testing, even though it is not as readily available as I'd like. Things are better. I'm not talking to my friends every single second of every day about what the president did or said. That's better. I'm getting back to life again, talking to the people that I care to talk to. So overall, if you want to letter grade, I give him a B-. But I'm just happy that I have some semblance of my life back, where as a year and a half ago, it didn't resemble anything like this.
Okay, and as a teacher, a former teacher, he had to give it a grade. Okay, but look at our viewers, Jeff. 62% of our viewers right now say that they disapprove. That just went down to 60%. How are you feeling, Jeff? How's everything going in the Schroeder household? Do you feel it's gotten better?
First of all, let me start by saying I don't think anyone enjoys talking about politics, especially on a talk show. But I'm glad we're checking in, right? With Donald Trump, we did what he had for lunch, what his wife was wearing every day. It was endless. But now, on the flip side of that, we don't really talk about Joe Biden. He falls up the stairs of Air Force One. We don't show that. So I'm glad we're checking in. Despite what people think at home, I really don't have a political party. I'm homeless when it comes to politics. I just want the best person for the job. And right now, whoever's in there with coronavirus going on is going to have a tough time of it. And Joe Biden is having a tough time of it. I don't think he kept a lot of promises. There is no free college education. I don't know if he's up to date with what's going on with coronavirus, which I said is very hard for everybody. But I just don't think he's coming through with a lot of promises. He's a career politician. He went back and he flip-flops on a lot of things. So I think he's having a tough go of it, and I think America's seeing that.
Tori?
Strangely, I actually agree with my learned friend in black. I'm a little bit disappointed and give a B- C+. And here's why. He said last night, Sam, I was unaware, or I had not anticipated that the Senate would be so far against me personally. And I was like, dude, you were with Obama for 8 years, and that's exactly what they said they were going to do. So one, I'm like, you're not prepared to deal with the Republican side at all. And it seemed ill-prepared at best. And second, I also really was disappointed in the sacred right to vote, that the voting rights did not pass. And there's also just a sense that a president should be your inspiration in chief, right? Your consoler in chief. Yes, we're going through COVID. We're going to get through this. Roosevelt had it. Reagan had it. Kennedy had it. I don't get it at all from Biden. I don't feel it, and I really need to feel that from my president right now.
I want to hear from some of our viewers, because we care what you think. First of all, 57% of you still say you disapprove. We have right here from Ron R. saying that as a military vet, I'm proud that there's no longer a trans-military ban. That's good to know. Sure. Okay.
And the infrastructure.
But you're also no longer in Afghanistan, correct?
True, and
correct.
Okay,
He didn't handle
but we
that
do
great
have a lot.
either.
We do have a lot of people saying he did break promises as well. This goes to our next beat because we have a few of you bringing up voting rights. Marquita Baker says voting rights is so crucial right now. We have a few other echoing that sentiment. So let's talk about that because one of the president's big goals was passing voting rights. But last night, the Senate rejected 2 bills aimed at keeping more polling locations and drop boxes open. So these were designed, of course, to combat new laws making it harder to vote in places like Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona. Vice President Kamala Harris was on GMA talking about it. Take a look.
We as America cannot afford to allow this blatant erosion of our democracy, and in particular, the right of all Americans who are eligible to vote to have access to the ballot unfettered.
Okay, so what do you think about national laws that would make it easier to vote? And are there good reasons to make it harder, for people to vote? I just want to involve another comment that said that some of our viewers are giving Biden a D minus, while some are giving it an A plus. So we're still divided in this country. Let's talk about voting rights. Tori, if this is the people's president, right? If it's the people's house, like you always say on this show, shouldn't voting be as accessible as possible so we can make sure that us constituents are actually putting that leader in the house?
Yes. Hardcore yes. The sacred right to vote is the backbone of this country, and the fact that the Democrats couldn't get it passed last night with a Democrat in the White House is really, really disheartening to me. MLK, we just had MLK Day. He said, you protect the vote, you protect the rights. Without it, we're nothing. If you can't get 2 of your own senators to agree and you're a Democrat now, very disappointing, incredibly disheartening, and really would have been a big boost for Joe Biden to have secured the sanctity of the vote, and he did not get it done.
Yeah, Jeff, Sean Gillis just wrote in, I think we all need to just come together as a nation, stop the hate. Also, voting rights as a nation should not be turned away. What are you thinking,
Correct.
Jeff?
Listen, I think there needs to be more accessible voting, but I don't know. We're kind of hung up on this. People can't get out and vote. Only 70%, I think, of America who could vote voted this year. So what are the numbers of people that can't? I'd like to get some hard numbers. Is it in the hundreds? It's thousands? Is it in millions? I don't know what that number is of people who can't get to voting. That being said, I think it should be more accessible. If you really can't get there, that is a huge problem, no matter who you're voting for. I think people just naturally assume you're going to vote Democratic if you can't get to the voting station for some reason. But again, here's the counterpoint to that I've been seeing on TV that's not necessarily mine. Why do I need to bring a vaccine card to go see Disney on Ice? That's proving that I got a vaccine with my ID, but I don't need anything to go vote. I could use a piece of mail. That doesn't make sense.
I think they're trying to involve as many citizens as possible. So I think we saw with a lot of Trump's margins, we're talking about 20,000 people in certain counties that can swing a county and swing a state. So that's why these are targeted in certain areas.
All right. Well, good discussion. Final vote. 60% of you still disapprove with the president and the current administration.
Harsh.
There you go.